and the world is better off for it.
All right, a public hanging for Saddam Hussein, a death sentence for crimes against humanity. What does this mean for this election? Let's bring in our two distinguished expert guests, PJ Crowley, Senior Fellow at the Center for American Progress, and Jed Babin, former Deputy Undersecretary of Defense and author of Showdown, Why China Wants War with the United States. Gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for coming on. Jed Babin, to me, this Saddam thing is kind of a November surprise. It reminds people that we got rid of this totalitarian mass murderer. Regime change was a good thing, and following it up, we had 3 Democratic elections. Question, Jed, will it play in the midterm election tomorrow?
I don't think it's going to play a lot, Larry. I think what we've got here is something that's, yeah, it's a good milestone. The president said, yes, fine, it's a good thing for their Iraqi democracy's development. The problem is the guy isn't hanging yet. And unless and until we draw blood, I don't think people are really going to notice this a whole lot more than they notice a lot of other things. You know, quite frankly, after John Kerry did his lurch routine again, I don't think they're going to care much about Saddam. John Kerry is what it's all about.
Well, PJ, we're trying to get the public hanging tomorrow on Kudlow and Company, just to sort of hammer the point home. But failing that, go up, I'm sure. I'm afraid I don't agree with my great friend Jed Babin. I think it is one of these subliminal underlying issues that could snap up as a November surprise.
Hey, Larry, I disagree with you. I think in market terms, the market has already absorbed this. It would have been astonishing if there was any other result. You know, it was the right verdict. Probably not a fair trial, judges getting killed, lawyers getting killed, but the right verdict, and I think most people expected this all along. But I think that the real issue is, it's not that Saddam has been put on trial and convicted, it is the cost that the United States is bearing for this effort. A majority of the American people don't think it was worth the cost. I think that's what you're going to see tomorrow.
Jed Babin, it's interesting to me, when you look at some of these recent polls, the ABC poll, particularly the second poll that came out today, the Pew poll, sorry. Jed, Bush's approval rating is actually going up. In particular, his approval rating among independent voters is going up. And lastly, he has been out there talking Iraq, Iraq, Iraq. The guy is steadfast, he's resolute, he is on message. Jed, are you surprised? Because many pundits said he should stay away from Iraq.
I'm a little surprised, Larry, but I think that this is what the Republicans should have been doing on a lot of different fronts, not just Iraq, for the past several months. They needed to really nationalize this election to make it be about the Democrats, the liberals, the elitists, like John Kerry. That's what this election should be about. Iraq is a difference, too. If you look at Jack Murtha versus George Bush, well, you want to redeploy and have your fast reaction force in Okinawa. I think the American people think that's kind of laughable. And what they're seeing now is that the president is engaged, and when he is engaged, he's tremendously effective. I'd rather be holding my cards than PJ's tomorrow.
PJ, I don't know whether you can pull an inside straight out of this or not, but let me go back to the John Kerry fiasco. I mean, insulting the troops for being badly educated, by the way.
Or botching a joke.
Well, maybe not. He's got a whole history of this kind of thing. How much damage is this going to do?
Unlike the vice president, he did serve. He did not have better things to do.
Yeah, but that doesn't give you a license to attack the troops, does it?
PJ. It doesn't give him a license to go out and hunt lawyers either. You know, I mean, you can talk about the vice president, who, by the way, is going to be hunting tomorrow. I wish I were going hunting with him. You know, PJ, you're looking at Kerry. Kerry has been saying for 35 years that American troops are war criminals. Back to 1971.
He was there. He's been there, done that.
He does not have the right to say it because it's a lie. He has been lying about the troops ever since 1971.
This is exactly why you're going to see a major swing. Republicans to Democrats tomorrow.
All right, we've agreed on that brilliantly. Let me go to another one. The Army Times, I guess, has run an editorial which is calling for Mr. Rumsfeld's resignation. Let me read this. Rumsfeld has lost credibility with the uniformed leadership, with the troops, with Congress, and with the public at large. His strategy has failed, his ability to lead is compromised, and although the blame for our failures in Iraq rests with the Secretary, it will be the troops who bear the brunt. This is not about the midterm elections, regardless of which party wins November 7th. The time has come, Mr. President, to face the hard, bruising truth. Donald Rumsfeld must go. That from the Services newspaper. Jed Babin, what do you make of this? And I might add, part of that editorial has said, active duty. A new chorus of criticism from active duty military leaders are starting to voice misgivings from the war's planning, execution, and dimming prospects for success. Your thought, Jed? This is rough stuff.
It's rough stuff, but it's coming from a bunch of AA hitters, Larry. This is not from the troops. The Army Times, the Navy Times, the Air Force Times. It's the Gannett newspapers. It's the same pansy, liberal, elitist editorial writers that, you know, they just want to get a job with the New York Times.
Well, who are
year.
these guys?
These guys don't speak.
Who are they?
They don't speak.
Who owns them?
They're a bunch of writers.
But who owns them?
They're owned by Gannett. Gannett.
So that's not an official.
And these guys.
It's not an official Pentagon journal.
No, it's not.
And they don't speak for the troops. That's the most important thing.
Well, there you're wrong, Jed. They do take the pulse of the troops. And look.
Garbage.
The fact that Larry said the president's on message, the president's changed his message. He's cut and run on stay the course. And the fact is that
I don't think so.
Well,
PJ.
I mean,
I was in with him in the Oval Office, and I got to tell you something.
Way.
I was amazed. Resolute he was. His message is we have to stay on the offense, and his second message is if we leave prematurely, it will be an utter unmitigated disaster. So that is really, he is very clear, and I've heard him on the campaign trail.
But one has to recognize the strategy that we have is not working. It's not a matter of one pole or the other. It's a matter of finding something effective that will actually make a difference in Iraq. And the president has not offered that vision. The Secretary Rumsfeld has not offered that vision, and he is ultimately responsible. And as long as President Bush keeps defending Rumsfeld, the message to the American people is stay the course. And the American people have said this is not working. We have to change.
All right, let me. I want to have a little bit of decorum. You got two smart guys, and I respect both of you, and you respect each other. Jed Babin, let me just ask you this. Now, the president has said, I believe, he said that Mr. Rumsfeld is with him, safe, defense secretary for 2 more years. Is that true, Jed?
Right.
That was a complete endorsement.
I think Rumsfeld is there as long as he wants to be, and PJ is just so wrong. I wish the Democrats would say something other than withdraw. They don't have a strategy. They don't have an understanding of this war. They don't have a clue as to how to fight it, and that's what you're going to see tomorrow.
What comes out of this election in your judgment, PJ? With respect to changes in the war? It isn't clear to me. I think Jed has a point. The Dems don't have a unified position, Lord knows. Well, we had John Murtha on. I asked him specifically, okay? In a sense, I admire Murtha, even though I don't agree with his position right now, but I admire him as a congressman, as a soldier, and as a patriot. But I asked him, what does a timely exit strategy mean? And he really didn't say, PJ.
Well, look, let's go back to civics class here. Tomorrow, the election is about Congress. Congress does not make foreign policy. Congress oversees foreign policy and funds it. It is up to the president to lead the military as commander-in-chief. It's up to Congress to provide appropriate oversight. So it's not up to Jack Murtha to say, if I were president, this is what my policy would be. Jack Murtha's not president. Yeah, and the race for the White House starts the day after tomorrow. But clearly we're going to see pressure by both Democrats and Republicans on the administration to change course in Iraq because the American people don't think there's a strategy for
Jed, I don't want to throw another line in cream, but I can't resist this. I was very disappointed to read in the papers that Republican appropriations on defense have eliminated the Iraqi Inspector General, who himself is a Republican, but he's had some very tough oversights on mismanagement of Iraqi funds. Jed, why did they eliminate that position?
I don't know. I don't think they should have. But the real issue here, Larry, is what we do to go forward. And the Democrats are completely irresponsible. They're saying, vote for us because we're not George Bush. We're not going to tell you what we're going to do with Iraq. Before they can earn any votes, they have to tell us what they're going to do. It's a bargain between them and the voters, and they're hiding their cards.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Jed Babin and PJ Crowley. As always, 2 distinguished points of view. Coming up later, your money